Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue a lesson that we started the last time. Before we begin this new part today, I'm going to put some statements on screen and I want you to fill in the blanks. Some of these are quotes that we did in our last class. All right. Our first statement is, dash speak louder than words. The author of this proverb is unknown. I think it's a very famous proverb, right? The answer is actions. Actions speak louder than words. Let's see what our next quote is. Nature has endowed man with 2 ears and 1 dash. This is a quote by Benjamin Disraeli, who we discussed in our last class. Let's see. Nature has endowed man with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Let's see our last quote for today. It's by Mahatma Gandhi. A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he dash, he becomes. I'm sure you're guessing the right answer. Thinks. What he thinks, he becomes. A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. Very good. So we saw some quotes that speak about our words, our thoughts, and our actions. We are going to continue the similar lesson in your textbook. Think before you speak. We saw last time as well, the author is anonymous. In the part of the lesson that we are going to do today, the author focuses even more on the importance of words. So I'm going to read the lesson now once for you. I want you to pay attention. Think before you speak. A very wise man once remarked that of the unspoken word you are a master. Of the spoken word you are a slave. Once you have spoken a word, you cannot get it back. Do what you will. Therefore, you must be very careful about the words that you speak. Once the word has left your lips, you will not be able to get it back. What are unspoken words? They are things you want to say but remain unsaid as thoughts in your mind. Once you have put the thoughts into words, once the words have left your lips, you cannot change or control them. I hope you paid attention to that. I'm going to ask you 2 very quick questions. What is one master of? One is master of the unspoken word. And what is one slave of? We'll see. One is slave of the spoken word. Very good. Now we are going to do the first paragraph in detail. All right, tell me, what did a wise man once say? We'll see. A wise man once said that of the unspoken word you are a master, of the spoken word you are a slave. So students, this wise man, actually the first wise man who ever said this, there are a lot of people who've said this quote in different ways, but the first man who ever said this was Winston Churchill. Now, Winston Churchill, he was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He was the Prime Minister twice, from 1940 to 1945, and then again he was Prime Minister from 1951 to 1955. He has been one of the world's greatest leaders. We can look at a map here. Can you see that is Europe? United Kingdom is that small green thing there. So United Kingdom is a country which comes in the continent of Europe. And definitely you can see, you can recognize our country, India, I'm sure. So Winston Churchill is the wise man who said that quote. He said, of the unspoken word, you are a master. Of the spoken word, you are a slave. I want you now to identify a word that means having knowledge and experience. I'm going to give you some options. Is it wise? Is it remarked? Or is it slave? We'll check for the answer. It is not remarked. It is not slave either. To be wise means to have knowledge and experience. Now I want you to identify a word that means said something, to say something. Is it remarked? Is it wise? Or is it slave? It is not wise, right? We just saw the meaning of wise. Neither is it slave. It is remarked. To remark something means to say something. All right, now I want you to look at this picture. Look at these people. Now let's see if we can identify which word means a person who is the property or who is owned by another person. Is the word master, is the word slave, or is the word wise? It's not master, correct? It's not even wise. We just saw the meaning of wise. The word is slave. A slave is someone who is owned by another person, who is the property of another person. Let's think now. Why is one master of the unspoken word but slave of the spoken word? Why do you think that is? So a master is someone who has complete control, whereas a slave is someone who has no control. So until a word is not spoken, you can still decide, should I say this or not? Therefore, you are still master. But once you say a word, once other people have already heard it, you cannot do anything, right? If your words were good, the result will be good. If the words were bad, the result will be bad. That is why you are always master of the unspoken word and slave to the word that you've already spoken. Look at that picture there. That is the master and that is the slave. Can you see the slave has no control? The master is the one who's holding him. Students, owning slaves is called slavery. All right? We've had for hundreds of years in different places, in different countries, people who have bought and sold slaves for different reasons. Sometimes the rich just buy slaves to work in their houses. Sometimes people were taken prisoners during wars. Sometimes just because they probably couldn't pay off some money that they had borrowed. For different reasons, people have been taken as slaves. People have been bought. They have been sold as slaves. You know what it means to own something? When you own something, it is yours. You have all the right. You can do whatever you want with it. In the same way, when slaves were purchased, they had no control at all. They had to do whatever their master said. If they had to do anything, they had to ask for permission. There have been certain places where slavery has been very famous. Okay, I'm going to show you some. These are slaves in Rome. Rome is a country in Italy. All right, that's the map of Rome. Slaves were also famous in Greece. Greece is another country. That's a map of Greece. Slavery has also been very common in Egypt. These are slaves in Egypt. Can you see them there? They are bowing down to their ruler. In the first picture, they are being whacked. They are being hit. These are slaves in Egypt. That's a map of Egypt. You know, children, today we may not have slavery as it was back then, but we have something called modern slavery. Now, this can be seen in different forms. It can be in the form of people who work in our houses. It can be people who work in industries. Sometimes many of these people don't get proper basic necessities. They don't get food, they don't get water. They may not even have proper shelters to live. Students, in our world, equality, freedom, they are basic human rights. What are human rights? Human rights are rights that every human being, irrespective of their nation, of their color, of their creed, of their religion, of their nationality, they all have rights. Those are human rights. No one has the permission to take away rights of a human being. Some of the very common human rights are right to life, right to property, right to religion. I've put some up there on screen as well. You have education, information, speech. These are all basic human rights. Very often around us, we see people who do not get their basic rights, correct? We see people who don't get food, who may not get proper education. Sometimes we may see children our age who are not as privileged as us. So we can try to help in little ways, maybe share food with them, share food with a poor family in our neighborhood. Sometimes if we know of a child who wants to go to school but does not have proper textbooks, does not have proper notebooks, no proper pens, pencils, we can try to help them. We see sharing is caring, all right? So in our little ways, we must try to help people around us so that everybody is treated equally. We shall continue with our detailed study of our first part, all right? The first paragraph. Now tell me, why must we be careful with the words we speak? We must be careful about the words we speak because, let's see our textbook, what our answer says, because Once we have spoken a word, we cannot get it back. Whatever we do, no matter what we do, once a word is spoken, it cannot be got back. All right, look at that picture, the mouth running away. Tell me, what happens once a word leaves the lips? Let's see. Once a word has left your lips, you will not be able to get it back. Can you see? That man is chasing those lips over there. Those words, no, they must be words. Once you say something, you cannot get it back. All right? Okay, now in this first paragraph that we've done, let's see if we can pick out a main idea. I'll put three on screen for you. Let's see which one is most appropriate. We have the wise man. We have one-way journey of words. We have spoken and unspoken words. Can we see which is most appropriate? It's not the wise man, right? We just spoke one quote about him. So it's not that either. Neither are we talking about spoken and unspoken words. It is the one-way journey of words, right? Once the word goes, it never comes back. Therefore, it's a one-way journey, all right? So we can say that our main idea in the first paragraph is the one-way journey of words. We shall now do our second paragraph, all right? We shall do our second paragraph in detail. Tell me, what do unspoken words remain as? Let's look into our text. Unspoken words remain as thoughts in our mind. All right, students, let's think now. Why is it that unspoken words remain as thoughts in our mind? Can we see thoughts? No, we cannot see our thoughts, right? Why is it? Let's look at some of the reasons, all right? Why? Because the mind is responsible for storing thoughts. Our mind creates our thoughts, and so our mind stores the thoughts that we create, right? The unspoken words have not been heard by anyone. No, because you've not said them. So they're still in your mind. So they remain as thoughts in the mind. Our thoughts do not become words. So they remain in the mind. They've not yet been spoken. And the other reason is we can keep thinking about those words over and over and over. We can keep thinking about the words that we want to say. But because we've not said them yet, they are still in our mind. So these are the different reasons why unspoken words only remain as thoughts in the mind. All right, students, now tell me, why do you think words cannot be changed or controlled once they've left the lips? Let's think. The other person has already heard the words that you've said. If the words were rude, if they were bad, the other person has already felt hurt. And then no matter how much you say sorry, you cannot take your words back. You cannot change or you cannot control your words, all right? That's why we cannot change or control the words we speak once they have already been spoken. Now let's find the meaning of to leave the lips. Look at that there. Look at those lips there, how they're opening. Let's see. To speak, to eat, or to put lipstick. Let's see which of the words means to leave the lips. It's not to eat, definitely. It's definitely not to put lipstick. It is to speak. To leave the lips means to speak. When a word leaves the lips, it means the word has been spoken. All right, students, now we're going to pick out the main idea in the second paragraph that we've done. All right, let's see. Spoken words, unspoken words, spoken and unspoken words. This paragraph does not speak about spoken words, does it? No. Because it doesn't speak about spoken words, so it's not our third option either. We can say that the main idea here is unspoken words. So students, today we have learned the importance of words, the words that we speak, and especially the words that we do not speak. Now let's try and pick out the central idea from this entire thing that we've done today, our first paragraph and our second paragraph. I'll put up some options for you. There's speak carefully, there's wise men and their words, there's spoken and unspoken words. Let's select the most appropriate one. It's not wise men and their words. Neither is it spoken and unspoken words. Our central idea is to speak carefully. So we saw that the title of our lesson is Think Before You Speak. Can you suggest another title? Let's look at some other titles that would suit this lesson, all right? We have the importance of words. That could be another nice title. We also have words have power, correct? We saw that words can hurt somebody or words can make someone feel bad, all right? So we can say that the importance of words have power could also be used as titles for this lesson. So before we close, I'm going to give you a short assignment. I want you to write a story with the moral, think before you speak. It can be something that has happened to you or something that you've experienced in your life with someone else. But write a short story, and the moral of that story has to be think before you speak. Well, that's all for today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Take care.